The noose scratched Marlo Thorne's neck as she stood on the wooden platform in Bitter Creek's dusty square. Her hands were bound, tears streaking her dirt-stained cheeks. At 23, the orphaned seamstress faced death for a crime she didn't commit. Judge Harrison Blackwood's voice thundered, condemning her for stealing his wife's emerald necklace, a treasure worth more than most in this town of 40 souls would see in a lifetime. The crowd murmured, some uneasy, others morbidly curious, as children peered from storefront windows. Bitter Creek hadn't seen a hanging in 3 years, and Blackwood was making it a spectacle. Marlo's knees trembled. She'd been hemming a dress in Mrs. Blackwood's parlor when the necklace vanished. She was the only one there, the perfect scapegoat. But Marlo knew the truth, she'd seen Mrs. Blackwood bury the necklace in the garden. Who'd believe an orphan over the judge's wife? The executioner, Garrett Walsh, tested the trapdoor beneath her. The creak of wood matched the pounding in her chest. She tried to pray, but words failed. How could God let this happen? She'd worked grueling 16-hour days since she was 14, sewing for Bitter Creek's families, barely affording a room above Mueller's store. Blackwood checked his pocket watch, his cold gray eyes meeting hers with a glint of satisfaction. He nodded to Garrett, who reached for the lever. Then, spurs clanked on the platform steps, slow, uneven. A drunk cowboy stumbled into view, and what he carried would unravel everything. Caleb Iron Creek Mackenzie reeked of whiskey and 3 days' travel. His black hat sat crooked, his duster stained with dust. To the crowd, he was a drifter in the wrong place. But his bloodshot eyes scanned the scene with precision, the judge's hand on his gun, Marlo's terror, the crowd's fear. He'd seen enough hangings to smell injustice. Blackwood's face reddened. This is a legal proceeding. Move along, cowboy, or I'll have you arrested. Caleb swayed but held his ground, voice slurred but loud. Legal? You're hanging a girl who looks like she couldn't hurt a fly. What's her crime, murdering the town? The crowd stirred. Blackwood's jaw tightened. She's a thief. Stole my wife's necklace. The law's clear. Your wife. Caleb's laugh cut through the square. Judge, jury, and victim, all in one house. Convenient. Marlo stared, stunned. No one had challenged Blackwood during her sham trial. Her court-appointed lawyer, Hiram Wells, had barely spoken, offering no defense. Yet this stranger dared confront the town's most powerful man. Blackwood's hand rested on his gun. Move along, or you'll join her. Caleb reached into his coat, pulling out a tarnished badge. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Deputy U.S. Marshal, it read. Blackwood paled, his hand trembling. The crowd fell silent, even the children frozen. Now, Judge, Caleb said, words still slurred but heavy, tell me about this trial. How long was it? Who defended her? What evidence? Blackwood's voice faltered. She was caught red-handed. The necklace vanished while she was in my house. Red-handed? Caleb stepped closer, swaying but dangerous. Did you find the necklace on her? Well, no, but nothing. Caleb's voice rose. You're hanging her because a necklace went missing while she was there. Murmurs grew. Mrs. Patterson, the schoolteacher, whispered to her husband. Old Tom Fletcher scratched his head. Sheriff Wade Morrison shifted uncomfortably. Blackwood's authority, unquestioned for years, was cracking. Caleb reached into his saddlebag, pulling out the emerald necklace. It gleamed in the sunlight, its gold chain and perfect stones unmistakable. Found this buried in your garden an hour ago, he said. Funny place for a stolen necklace. Blackwood's face went white. Impossible. You're lying. Am I? Caleb held up a silk scrap, unmistakably from Mrs. Blackwood's gown. Wrapped in this. Your wife's dress. The crowd buzzed. Tom Fletcher stepped forward. Judge, what's this mean? Blackwood sputtered. He's working with her. Planted it to save his accomplice. Accomplice? Caleb laughed bitterly. I rode in 20 minutes ago. Never met her. But I've seen corrupt officials, and you stink of one. Sheriff Morrison spoke up. Judge, if the necklace was in your garden. It wasn't. Blackwood snapped. But Mrs. Patterson interrupted, her voice firm. Marlowe came to me that night, scared. Said she'd seen something odd but was afraid to speak. Samuel Mueller, the store owner, nodded. She told me the same. Said she saw something that'd get her in trouble. The crowd surrounded the platform, anger rising. Blackwood shouted, the trial's over. She's guilty. Caleb climbed the steps, moving with sudden steadiness. He reached for Marlowe's ropes. Blackwood drew his gun, aiming at Caleb's chest. The square went silent. Then Caleb's voice turned cold, sober. I came for you, Harrison Blackwood. 3 years I've tracked you since you fled Carson City with $50,000 in territorial funds. The crowd gasped. Blackwood's face crumpled. Lies. I've served this town 5 years. Under a stolen name, Caleb said. You're Henry Blackstone, ex-treasurer of Nevada. Embezzler. Fugitive. Mrs. Patterson's voice shook. Is this true? Have we followed a criminal? Blackwood's gun trembled. All lies. Then Mrs. Blackwood ran into the square, her blue dress trailing, hair undone. Harrison, stop. She knows about Rebecca. The name hit Blackwood like a blow. Caleb pounced. Who's Rebecca? Mrs. Blackwood sobbed, climbing the platform. His first wife. In Carson City. He said he was a widower, but Rebecca's alive. Bigamy. The crowd reeled. Marlowe found her voice. I saw letters in your parlor, signed, your loving wife, Rebecca. You saw me looking and panicked. Mrs. Blackwood nodded. Harrison convinced me to frame her for theft to silence her. Blackwood's gun dropped. Sheriff Morrison took it gently. Caleb freed Marlowe from the noose, and she collapsed, gasping. Thank you, she whispered. How'd you know to check the garden? Lucky guess, Caleb said, helping her up. Saw your wife watching, wringing her hands like she was guilty. As the crowd dispersed, buzzing with anger, Morrison arrested the Blackwoods. Mrs. Blackwood cooperated, confessing her role. Caleb and Morrison searched the judge's house, finding a strongbox under his bed. Inside were forged deeds, stolen cattle brands, and a journal detailing years of corruption, bribes, fixed verdicts, and innocent people condemned. The Hernandez family, hanged or sold into servitude 2 years prior, was just one case among dozens. Marlowe sat in Mueller's store, hands shaking around a coffee cup. I keep thinking I'll wake up in that cell, she told Mrs. Mueller. You're safe now, Mrs. Mueller said. That monster's done. But Marlowe's relief mixed with anger. How many others died because of his lies? Caleb found her on the store's porch, the hanging platform looming nearby. Miss Thorne, he said, removing his hat, I'm sorry. I should have caught him sooner. You saved me, she said softly. And you can still save others he's hurt. He nodded, guilt heavy in his eyes. That night, Blackwood confessed everything in his cell, detailing years of theft and murder. Morrison recorded every word. The federal authorities would use it to unravel his crimes. The townsfolk gathered, shaken but resolute. Tom Fletcher thanked Caleb. What now, Marshal? A new judge, Caleb said. A real one. And a commission to review Blackwood's cases. Justice will take time, but it'll come. Marlowe decided to leave Bitter Creek, its memories too raw. San Francisco, maybe, she told Caleb. Somewhere to start fresh. Caleb, he corrected, smiling. I hope you get the life you deserve. I'll never forget you, she said. He stayed in Bitter Creek, helping rebuild its legal system. The hanging platform was burned in a bonfire, a symbol of justice over vengeance. Epilogue. 6 months later, Marlowe opened a seamstress shop in Denver, known for aiding young women in need. She lived peacefully, surrounded by friends. Caleb stayed 2 years, then became territorial marshal, rooting out corruption. Sheriff Morrison served as interim judge, proving fair and honest. Mrs. Blackwood faced reduced charges for cooperating, her husband faced life in prison, or worse. Bitter Creek faced an uncertain future, but it was built on truth at last. The fire from the platforms would lit the night, a promise that justice would guide the town forward.